what's up, y'all? Welcome to the Relationship Cheat Code, where we give you the game and help you to stress less and experience your absolute best in your relationship.
Yes, we are back in the studio for another courageous conversation.
A courageous conversation?
A courageous conversation. I don't even know what we're going to be talking about for real.
You don't?
But we're going to have a courageous conversation, a connecting conversation, and we just want to invite you in. So sit back, relax, listen in. And the first thing, hold up. Do we need to say who we are? I think we do.
Okay.
Yes.
Who I be?
This right here is my dapper, debonair, amazing husband. He is my protector, my confidant. This is the cool breeze on this fiery Leo here. And he always keeps me right. That's who you are.
And this right here is my queen, my princess, the love of my life, my sweetheart, my incredible, sensational, delectable, edible, indelible wife.
You're really trying to get into a flow. I expected some music to drop for a second.
Yeah, that's my wife, Iana.
So everybody, welcome to the Relationship Cheat Code. So we're just going to jump into the conversation. And I'm tired. Can you tell?
Yeah, babe. I'm tired too. I'm tired too. But I mean, it's par for the course considering all that we have going on. Just, our day-to-day lives are hectic, stressful. We got 5 children, and everybody has different demands, different needs, and different wants and desires, et cetera, et cetera. And so if you are a parent with children, then you definitely can relate and understand the up and down, the grind, the everyday, the ins and outs, the questions, y'all. I told my father the other day, and I don't know if I shared this with you, boo, but I said that sometimes I be feeling like, a bird in a nest where you have like a lot of the baby birds chirping and wanting something
trying to
from
get your attention.
The big bird. Yeah, just trying to get my attention, trying to get something. And so that's how it be when you have children, like just experiencing like the wanting demands and competing energies. And however, I will say this, like when it comes to children, with all of that, the elevating aspect of it is the vibrancy that they bring in terms of their energy, in terms of like, just the different personalities, and to be able to see them grow and become is really a blessing. And so, I think that sometimes I stand too far on the side of saying, they be tripping. And I need to stand more on the side of like, I'm thankful that I get to experience them the way that I do.
Yeah. So you're right. I mean, we are busy, but we're not just busy with kids. We're busy with this new podcast, with our coaching clients and our membership community and, all of these things. Just a whole lot of stuff. But this is what I was actually thinking about earlier today. So I'm glad you started here, and then we'll kind of go from here. I was thinking, like, I feel like a part of, I don't want to say my narrative, but a part of what I'm saying all the time is I'm tired. I got a lot going on. I'm busy. I got so much. And, I have, I've witnessed some people, some women, and even some men who have complained about, I'm just so tired and I got so much and I'm just doing so much and people just need so much from me. And after a while I get old. It gets old. It's like nobody's making you do anything. You can decide to take reprieve. You can decide to say, I need some help. I need a little space. I need to sit down. You know what I mean? So I am in 2024. I am declaring it right here, right now. And this has already been a part of my declaration and the energy that I want to cultivate for myself. I want to cultivate ease in 2024. You know what I mean? I don't want to hustle. I want to flow. I want to be in the flow, not just be hustling all over the place all the time. And sometimes it's, easier said than done. But
so
we just gotta do better. I gotta do better.
So you saying you're gonna sit your ass down in 2024? Is that what I'm hearing?
Just a little bit more. Yes, I am. Okay. I actually am. Yeah.
And so when I hear you say that, it actually enables me to like relax my shoulders a little bit, because the way that you move, the way that you show up, and all that you do for our family, all that you do for me, you do a lot, babe.
Oh.
You really do. You do a whole lot. And I'm truly appreciative. But the one thing that I wish you would do more of is just take time for you. Just rest. relax, exhale, breathe.
Give it to me. Yes, I'm soaking all that up. I'm taking that all up into my spirit. And I'm going to be doing that. So when I check into a hotel and you be like, where'd she go?
I mean, I'm going to know before you go. Don't just like check in and you
Where's
just
she at?
disappear.
I am relaxing by the pool. I'm in the sauna. Mm-hmm. Seriously, I want to do more of that. I'm going to.
You should. You need to.
You know what I mean?
And I want you to.
Okay.
I mean, I want you to experience that. And I do think that you are intentional about experiencing it in the way that you want to.
Yeah.
And real talk, like, we just do things differently. And so sometimes I can be judgmental about the way that you get your reprieve.
Let's get into it. Let's get into these differences. And what a perfect segue.
Yeah, I mean, it's
perfect segue, because that's really what we wanted to kind of get in today, is just talking about differences, because so many people get caught up in their differences. And I do think that you get caught up in our differences quite a bit.
Say some more.
Okay, so let me just share, if I can share transparently, it's a few things. So I realize that I talk about like being busy and overstretched and oh my God, and this and that, because I also have ADD. So I have adult ADD, and your brain just can get overwhelmed more easily, can get stimulated much more easily, and all of the things that you have to manage seem tenfold. And then I don't even feel like I have no regular situation. I got a lot more stuff in general anyway. And so for me, that overstimulation, all of that stuff that's happening, I think that the way that I show up, sometimes my organized chaos, all the stuff, like, you'd be feeling some type of way about it. And for real, I mean, I will say this, I haven't always felt fully understood. I won't say I haven't felt supported, but I haven't always felt like you were really, I know that there are people out there who are listening to this right now and think like ADD is not for real. You don't really see it as a real thing. It's like, oh, okay, you have ADD. Okay. We all get distracted. You know what I'm saying? But I kind of feel like that's how you have thought about it. And over time, I've like looked into my own diagnosis more and paid more attention to it. And I've, been able to cultivate more compassion for myself. But yeah, sometimes you can be a little judgy. I don't know why we got into that. There was a point for me telling y'all that we were supposed to be talking about differences. Mm-hmm. Right. But we are very different in the way that we flow. And that's what we were going. If why I said that comes back, it'll come back. But we definitely are. I mean, I'm much more like this. That's the best way I can say it. And you're much more, look at you. You're just cool. You can't help yourself. You just can't help yourself. You're like, yes, So you're just like easy, like Sunday morning. And so that relaxed piece is really good for me.
So you lifted up that at times I've had a hard time, or I've been a little bit more judgy when it comes to the way that you show up, and I'm not fully accepting or even believing that you got ADD. I
don't even know if you really care, honestly.
Really?
I mean, honestly, but not like you don't care about me, but like, okay, you have ADD, great, and moving on,
So this is good. This is good because I definitely do care. So let me just say that I care. I want to know about you. I want to be with you. I want to be.
But it's okay if you don't.
So
it's not okay if you don't care about me, but you don't have to care about all the things equally, because I don't really actually think that you really do.
So
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, be real. You know what I mean?
I mean, but why wouldn't I?
Because you don't really believe in that thing. You should think it's one of those. It's like, so y'all know we're therapists and coaches, right? So there is a diagnosis in the DSM that's called intermittent explosive disorder. So, young people get that diagnosis a lot, and people in general can, but a lot of young people get it a lot because, it's like you're popping off and like you can't, maintain and regulate yourself. And I even remember when I saw that, I was thinking like, okay, like, I don't know if we need a diagnosis for this, So I think there are just some things that, I don't know if you just take it as seriously. Although ADD is a serious situation. You're just not, you don't care about it as much. But I don't want to keep talking about ADD. Like,
no, but no, we need to park here for a second, because what you're saying is that I don't care about it. And so what I take from that, for me not to care about it, it feels like what you're suggesting is that I don't care about you.
But it's not. I don't believe that.
And so, but what I'm trying to say is that I can't separate the two. So if there's something that has you showing up. Though. No, I haven't. And so there's two things. You have the diagnosis, but you also have the behavior. And so whether it be the diagnosis or or the behavior, what I'm primarily focused on is the behavior, and then also the impact. And so that's what I care about. And and then there goes a certain, that coming with that is a certain level of concern. And so, and curiosity as well too. And so, I might not necessarily focus on like, this is the diagnosis, this is what the
I'm not
DSM
talking about
says.
that, but I'm talking about,
but my piece is that, but I want to know you. And so in me wanting to know you and explore you and really be attuned to you, like if you got something going on, I want to know it. And so all I'm saying is that, like, it's, whether I believe it or don't, to me is irrelevant, because if there's something that's impacting you and it's preventing me, or I see it as a barrier from me being close to you, then it's a problem for me.
Okay, babe.
And so I'm trying to push through.
So, I mean, that sounds good. And I'm not saying that you don't care at all, but have you ever really gone and like looked up ADD and like really kind of taken time versus just a quick Google search, like really taking time to see like, how might this be showing up in Iana's life, and how might this be like, I might be dealing with some of the effects of this as her husband or in our family, like some of the things that might annoy you or that get to you, or definitely I know some of my disorganization and all that kind of stuff. Have you really kind of leaned into that and done some deep kind of studying on that?
Mm-hmm. Not, I wouldn't say deep, but I have definitely looked into it. I definitely have. And again, so for me, when I see certain things, then it points it challenges me to redirect my attention toward me in terms of how I'm responding.
Okay.
And so for me, what that means is, again, making room for the difference. Like the way you do things. I mean, we had a conversation the other day about this in terms
you need to
of like,
share with me then, because I don't be knowing that I didn't know you did any of that.
Like I said, I want to know you.
I hear you, but you don't necessarily share with me your process of exploring me, and then you don't communicate. You haven't necessarily always communicated that back to me, but I have heard some judgments.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's facts right there.
It just is,
You have, and so I mean, I own that, which is, a part of the reason why I'm like constantly trying to understand me and expand my understanding of you. So like when I hear you say that, I get the whole judgment piece, but to me, that's a me thing and not a you thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, I've had to, I mean, as recently as like this week.
I know.
Yeah, I've had to really reflect on my impatience, my expectations, my beliefs and the way that I think things should be done, my rigidity, all of that. I've had to contemplate that.
And I've told you that you get to be impacted. So it's like, let me just bring this home for everybody watching, right? Today we said we were going to kind of just flow into talking about differences. And I think this is like a really good way to get into it. You also get to be impacted. Like your partner can be very different from you and have different ways of being and flowing that, don't work well for you, with legitimate reasons, or you understand and it's a problem. You can understand and it's a problem. So sometimes that's why I'm feeling like, sometimes I feel like you're like, I don't think you really care about the ADD. I know you care and adore and love me, but I think that you kind of put that in a category. And I'm all right with that, because two things can be true at once. So I'm just saying that it's okay. You get to be impacted. You might be like, I don't want to walk over top of no clothes no more. Can you pick your clothes up off the floor? You know what I'm saying? Like, dang, you late all the time. Or, oh my goodness, you kind of last minute with certain things. And my brain, works like boom, 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 boom. And you're like, I need more time to process. And you know what I'm saying? You get to be impacted by that. Do you know what I'm saying? So the same way that I feel sometimes you're judgy, you also get to be impacted and be like, okay, I hear you, babe, but this is a problem. We need to work some things out differently. So I appreciate your message to me, but I also want you to know that it's okay for you to be wherever you are.
That's difficult, because I'm always looking at it through the lens of me just taking ownership and me figuring out how I can manage the situation.
You don't need to manage nothing. You just need to be my husband.
And so,
walk up over top of the clothes sometimes, roll your eyes, keep it moving. It's not that deep. You know what I'm saying? It's not. It can be at times, but overall, like this dynamic has been present for a long time. You know what I mean? A long time. Y'all, I remember, let me tell this story. I remember when we got married in the early days. Yeah, like I was a young new wife. And I remember, and I was I'm still very sensitive about, just really, it's just really in the household or whatever. But like, it also, I'm a woman, I'm a wife, right? So you want to have your house together. You want to keep your kids together. And I do all of those things. But if there's a judgment that I perceive is coming from my husband, I am very sensitive about it. Especially if he's like, is this your ADD? You said that this week. I think that's your ADD, but it didn't come across like, oh, that's your ADD. You're like, there go that damn ADD again. So I remember early on, we were like, I don't know, in our first few years of marriage, and my husband, it wasn't, now looking back, it wasn't the worst thing ever, but it felt like it to me. He said, you remember this? You said, I always tell this story. You said one day you came in the bedroom, you saw my side of the bedroom, which looks completely different from his side of the bedroom. It's very creative. My bedroom side is creative. Things just thrown here, so I can create. and so my husband, he was like, you came in and you was like moving some stuff around, and you said, I knew you was messy, but I didn't know you was like this. You probably don't even remember that, because that thing, that has always stuck with me. But it like hit my, like, I'm like this, So I think there is sensitivity. But now we're like 20 plus years later. I accept myself. Relationship work is personal work. I know where my strengths are. I know where I need to grow and stretch, and it just is what it is. Let's talk about one of your your vulnerabilities now.
No, we are.
I'm serious.
Nah, so you said that I get to be impacted.
Yes.
And so I definitely want to revisit that piece right there, because I'm just curious to know, if I get to be impacted, what's your level of receptivity to me expressing what the impact is? Are you open to that? Or are you closed to it? And you just mentioned the whole sensitivity piece.
Yeah.
Because I may be adjusting, adapting, and modifying my approach, and not making it a big deal and minimizing how it feels to me because of the way in which you have responded when I've lifted certain things up.
For example?
So you mentioned the whole clothes situation. Like, I don't recall the situation, but just
that was way back. I'm talking about.
Yeah, but just me knowing you, if I have any critique, or if I bring something to the table.
You feel like if you have any critique for me that I'm not able to receive it? Is that what you're saying?
It's hard for you to. It's hard for you to.
Say some more about that.
Just in that right there.
No, just like, I want to know.
You said that like, let me take my earrings off, let me get the Vaseline, let me get ready to go to battle here.
Yeah. Share some more.
Yeah, it's just that.
No, really, honestly, I want to hear more. Like, what do you mean by that? So, yeah, I really want to know.
So what I mean is, if I were to say something. So let me give you an example. I went over to somebody's house, and
is this a made up example? This is a real thing.
This is real.
Oh.
I went over to somebody's house, and I was truly impressed. This person had young children.
I don't like this example. I already know what this example is.
I was truly impressed.
Why are we using this example?
I'm just saying, but I was
the worst example ever.
I was truly. It's not.
But I already know what you're going to say.
No, I'm just saying I was truly impressed with the level of organization and the structure.
Yes, and you made sure to tell me.
I shared.
Let me know.
I shared what my experience was, and not that there was an expectation, but I've lifted up certain experiences in the past, specifically as it pertains to how we manage our children, and there may be some pushback.
Like what?
In terms of like expecting them to be on point, making sure their rooms and all of that type of stuff.
I don't have no pushback, but I would say I don't participate. You're like the person who does all those things, and I've wondered, have you feel like I'm alone in this because you clearly don't care. You ain't got no schedule and you don't want them to have no schedule. You know what I mean? In terms of...
but I've expressed that before.
But what I'm saying is that I don't feel like I'm pushing back. I feel like I'm like I'm not as, you know, like our kids we have 5 children, right? And our kids have their schedule and stuff of chores and what's supposed to happen on this day, that day. If you came to me any given day of the week, I'm just being honest, and you ask me who's supposed to do this on that day, I'd be like, I don't know. That's just real. Some things I know, but some things I don't, because you're like in charge of that.
Yeah.
So I'm just not in it as much, and I'm also not as anal as you are.
I know. So what I've felt at different points in time is that there's a resistance to my anal approach. And
but that's not feedback, babe. That's different.
No, what I'm saying is that like there's pushback. So I've lifted up stuff in reference to the children's diet. I've lifted up stuff in reference to our diet and how our household could be. And you know, you said, yeah, I'm just saying, you said that you know, nah. I mean, if there's been like a pushback or a resistance, or even in terms of like cleaning, you know, my approach is too militaristic or you know, something along those lines. So again, I go to this person's house and I see this experience and I'm like, not that I did not know that it was possible, because I had been lifting that up. I had been lifting that up for an extended, for the duration of our relationship. But in me doing that, I get the rah-rah.
You lift the what up for the duration of our relationship?
Let me bring it. Yeah.
But what did you lift up?
Just the whole, like, the kids' responsibilities and...
But what I'm not saying that we can't... No, they should not have no responsibilities. Like, what are you perceiving that I'm...
Sometimes it feels like some of the things that I might lift up, specifically as it pertains to that, the children, that...
But the children are a category into themselves. They really are.
I know, but that's not... It almost feels like... that reality is not possible. It feels like...
This is hard for me right now. We're talking about differences, right? So I feel like if we started out, we're talking about, you know, my ADD and the way that I flow, the way that the household is run, the way that this happens or that happens, and the ways in which you like things to be done, and the way I might like things to be done.
You talked about me being judgmental too.
Right. All of those things. So I do feel like, now you might feel like, no, it's all included, but I feel like the kids are a special category. I feel like if you give me feedback around, when we're talking about this, around the way that we interact, the way that I'm doing things that's impacting you specifically, not as it connects to the children, relates to the children, that's what I'm talking, because I feel like with the kids, yeah, like, I feel like the reason I feel like it's a separate situation, even though everything connects, I know, is because you know that you be a little bit different with the kids. Like you have your way, I have my way, and there may be pushback from me, and there may be pushback from you. I defer to you, you defer to me. You know, like, I just feel like it's a whole category into itself where I've been able to acknowledge, this is you the daddy, this is your area, lead on it, and you've been able to acknowledge, all right, babe, I'm listening to you. But I feel like, you know, it's just kind of, it's like outside of, I think that's its own special category.
So even outside of the kids, like, you even lifted up 2 things. You said in terms of like punctuality and in terms of like being creative or having things thrown all over the place.
So my creative side of the room.
In reference to timeliness and that type of thing. I've had conversations with you in which I've lifted that up, and you've pushed back.
Oh, them live stream times.
Yeah, you've pushed back against all of that. And so what I find myself doing, like, for me, it's liberating.
This is going to be good for people to give us feedback on.
It's really weird, because it's not that it needs to be, but it's liberating to hear you say you get to be impacted, because I think my modus operandi is to pivot, to adjust, and to
I think so too,
and to figure out another way versus really confronting, like, this is a problem. Like,
so I need y'all's feedback. This episode is going to be all about how we manage our differences and the ways that we see things. So, you know, the best way sometimes to share these kind of things and how we're both impacted by the other person is through sharing the specifics. So you brought forward like being on time, which the main way that kind of looks is where you get really about it. Mm-hmm. He's like aggravated about it.
Yeah.
Is when we do a lot of live streams and a lot of Zoom sessions and
all of that
stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. So let me tell you let me tell you my perspective, and you tell me if this is accurate to you or not. I know you're gonna have a problem with what I'm gonna say.
Go ahead.
So I feel like all right, let's just go ahead. I feel like when it's time for us to come together to do something, we're using the example of the live stream or whatever we're doing, but we have to let's just put this in anything. It's time to sit down. We're supposed to be there at 5:00. Be there means at the desk in the house, right? At 5:00. I feel like, we've talked about the fact that you can be kind of rigid and kind of like very kind of like it needs to look like and be like this. Most of the time, not 100% of the time, but most of the time, I am there when we go live, when everybody's like looking. I'm like, hey, welcome to whatever it is we're doing. I'm there. What you're looking for is you need to be sitting in the seat at the same time I'm sitting in the seat. You need to do it like me. You need to show up like me. I sit down in the seat, I being you, at, if it's a 5:00 thing, at 4:50, 4:54. And I need you to be here. And so if I come and do that and I'm sit down, what do I say all the time? You don't even be ready. Like, because you're in charge of all the tech stuff and getting the mics ready and all the different things. It's not like, so I don't feel like, I feel like that's something that, so if I'm giving pushback, all of that to say, I'm saying like, if I'm here, it's like this is, you're my coworker. Your coworker saying, we're supposed to start at 5:00 and you're not in the room. And it's like, okay, yeah, I see it's 10 till. I got you. You're like, it's 4:51. You need to come on in here. No. I know some people out here like, yes, why aren't you in there at 4:51 getting ready? But I just feel like it's a little bit controlling. That's how it comes across to me.
And so in that example, I would definitely agree that, no, I do agree in that example. However, that's just one example.
Okay.
Because the relationship with time is interesting. Mm-hmm. Here's another example.
Okay, come on.
So if something is due today, your today doesn't end
something
until
is due
tomorrow.
To who, to where, to what?
So let's say today is the 15th.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to say, okay.
All right. If something is due today on the 15th.
Yeah.
And you say you're going to submit something on the 15th.
To who? What are you referencing?
It can't be a grant because there's a deadline. It could be anybody. You're going to submit something to the person on this day. And what ends up happening is that when it crosses over technically into the 16th, and some of y'all might actually understand this.
And y'all might agree. Level of pettiness. This is petty to me.
Hold on. But if it crosses over into the 16th, as long as it's in their inbox before they sit down at their desk on the 16th, it's still on time. And what I'm saying is that, but we're now in the 16th and it was supposed to be doing the 15th. We're not on time. But that's still on time to you.
It's not that it's on time to me per se, but what it is that unless somebody has given me a time of 5 p.m. on blah, 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 right? Then I'm going to try to get it in there in the business working hours. But if not, if you ain't tell me 4:30 p.m., you might get it at 11:59. You might get it at 12:20. But at the end of the day, it came on up in there. You wake up the next morning, it's there. So, I think that there's flexibility around that. I don't see why that's a big deal. So, I mean,
I'm just saying we've had conversations with that. And so to me, it's a black and white situation.
Yes, as most things are.
But for you, it's like, I'm going to push back on that. And so again, when you say I get to be impacted, like it's in situations and in moments like that, when I lift it up, that I feel like there's a lack of acceptance. And there's resistance to what I'm lifting up. And so
I feel you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'll work on receiving what you're saying more.
We need to come here and do like podcasts like every single day. Like, I mean, I love that. I really do. I
will. I'm going to work on receiving more. I'm going to work on receiving more.
And for me though, I mean, the whole piece around judging, and I'm not trying to say this to take back what I just lifted up.
What you
like I'm trying
to
take care of you. But I just want you to know that I receive that piece as well, because
thank you, babe.
No, I mean, because I can be very, like the disagreement that we had earlier this week. And it was really what was it about? It was about
disagreement.
It was based off of something that I said. I was tired too. And so I said what I said.
Yeah.
I said I basically expected a 5-course meal to be prepared. And when I came in the house,
we had to work. He knew he was working on something, because we have an email list. He had to get something out. He was leaving out the house, and he was trying to go pick up one of the kids. I said, "You want me to send the email?" He said, "Yeah, can you send the email?" Okay, I got you. I'm covering him. He said, "I'm gonna stop and get something to eat." Okay, great. Get me something too. But I said, we got food in the house. No, I'm gonna pick up something. Okay, that's fine. And then you came back in the house, and because the place was closed, and he found out it was closed, he came back in with an attitude like,
where my food at?
I wish it was, been nice. You ain't say it like that, but it'd have been nice if
where my food at, woman?
There had been some food prepared. That was just that was a funky moment. What was your point of bringing it up?
My point was that I had to really just take ownership of the fact that that's when I made the comment about the ADD. And I was very judgmental in some of the things that I said. I just went down this lane that I didn't need to go down. And so, for me, it's like what I learned in that experience is that I need to really expand my my understanding and make room.
That's all it comes down to.
Yeah, and not not be so hyper focused on me having things the way that I think that they should be, because I do get into that space. And so what I've been no, I do.
You do? You telling me like I don't know?
I really do.
I know you do.
I'll get into that space, and for some reason I feel like it's happening more as the older I get. Like there's a certain
hallelujah, thank you, Lord. He see himself.
Yeah, there's like a certain level of rigidity.
And I get more relaxed. So think about that. Two people. He gets you becoming more tight. Mm-hmm. And I'm becoming more flexible.
But it's not really around you. It's really mainly around with the children.
No, it's just in general. You think it's just around the kids?
Really?
It's just in general.
Be all tight.
So look, we have a. I was going to say next month, but this month actually, very soon. I'm sorry. Very soon. Very soon we're going to be speaking and at a amazing event that I'm excited about, getting very excited about. And, as we've been preparing for it, again, getting into differences, like, even though I'm what do you call it? I'm like an extroverted introvert or introverted extrovert, like I can be, but then I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go back inside and go in my room. You know what I'm saying? Even though that's who I am, I still like to engage. I can't wait to go and do the talk and share and have this experience and be with the people and network and collaborate. And so my husband, right, like when we go to things like that, you're like going up and taking naps in the middle of the time. One time, y'all, we was at a daggone conference. He's supposed to be going up and getting me a sweater because it was cold in there. I'm texting him like, where you at? Right? He's talking about, it literally like a whole hour almost went by. And he's like, my bad. I fell asleep. I was taking a light nap.
A light nap.
He's like, and so I've had to learn to my point is I've had to learn to make room for like your personality. So like, whereas all that energy gives me energy, I know that it drains you. And even as we have been talking about preparing for that, I mean, you'll lift up all of the like, well, I don't know if we should say that, or what if this, or what if, like all of the, and this has been how you have been in our relationship in general. I'm sorry, I don't mean to frown when I say it, but this is how you've been in general, where like, whether it's a talk or whatever it is, if there's a new idea that I have, or if there's something that I'm excited about, or if there's a new possibility, or the kids are talking about something, you'll be like, you ever have that friend or that person who's like, yeah, but what about this? And it's not that you're saying don't do it or that it's not going to work. You bring up and lift up like the possibility of perhaps that's not going to work. There's a failure, or are you scared, or maybe we shouldn't. And like that right there, when I say that's a difference, like I'm always like not thinking about that stuff. I'm like, I don't know. We're going to figure it out. It's going to work out. God is good. Let's keep moving. And I think that as much as we can say like, oh, that's like a mindset thing or what have you, some things are just core to our personality. Some things we just have to work on, but they're going to be around for a while. And I feel like that's something that, has been significant. That is a real difference between the way we are, because I'm usually, and I don't know if folks are able to resonate with this, I'm looking for my partner to be energetically with me so that we can do the thing, whatever it is. Or even if I need to do the thing, I want to go do the thing. Are you with me? You know, you need somebody in your corner. I got you. I see you, you know. And it's not that you're not in my corner. But a lot of times there's a lot of convincing or a lot of, you know, massaging and like, hey, and so I've got to go get my own motivation. And guess what? Here's a lesson for you. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes, you know, people are thinking we're looking to our partners for things that they are not supposed to be giving us. That's why, you know, we can have friends. That's why we can, you know, find communities and spaces that can support us, that are energetically where we are. But sometimes I do think in the past I've looked to you to give me something, to give me the pep talk or the faith walk sermon or whatever. And it's like, why you my husband? Anybody say you the preacher, you the pastor, you my girlfriend, you all these things. And, you know, because I think generally speaking, you are supportive, but you are who you are and I am who I am. And I think that's definitely a difference that, you know, we've just had to navigate over time. And I've definitely had to navigate, but it's easier to navigate now because I realize I'm leaning too much on you, looking to you too much. And then when you start to externalize and look at somebody else and say, you this, you that, it's just making an excuse for what I need to be doing and how I need to be moving and putting it on you. And that's not your walk. We can be married, but you can still have your own walk in your marriage.
So are you saying that I'm not supportive?
No, babe. No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not saying that. No, I'm saying that that's just the way you process things. You know what I mean? You funnel it through what are the things that can fail or not work or not, you know, or I don't know. You know, on the last episode, one of our guests talked about like I be dreaming, you know, but I'll be like, I don't know. And then his wife is like, let's just go do it, you know. So I think people are different and spouses are different. And sometimes we're judging and not allowing for the differences. And that's why we talk so much in our community about how are you making room? You don't need somebody to be just like you. I know for sure that you challenge me to think about things differently, to move differently. You definitely challenge me to slow down. You definitely challenge me to do that, you know, whether it's because I'm like wanting a response from you and you're like, yeah, let me think about that. I'll talk to you tomorrow. You said, I'm like, tomorrow? I was trying to move forward in the next 30 minutes, you know, whether it's that or you're just being you, like you challenge me to do that. Like, that's what I need. You help me to grow my patience, all those things. And then I hope that in some ways, you know, my way of being challenges you, and challenge isn't a bad thing inherently, you know?
Well, I wanted to say something about that though, because in terms of, well, first of all, let me go back to the whole piece about support. I do think that, you know, you can't expect everything from all people, and even your spouse. Like, they're not going to give you everything that you need in that moment. And so I look at support as like a bucket. I do think that you can expect, or you should expect, support from your spouse. And you should expect support from me.
Yeah.
But I think that if you poke holes in that bucket, you'll have different streams of support. And so some of that support may come in the form of a girlfriend. Some of that support may come in the form of a church member, whatever it may be, but you have different streams of support. But I know for a fact that I'm uber supportive of whatever it is that you do, even with my 1,001 questions. It may...
Right. So some of it is about how I even perceive, you know, the questions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think back to earlier in our relationship, in our marriage, when, you know, you told me like, can you stop asking all them damn questions? You know, you said you asking all these questions make me feel like you don't trust me, you know, and a lot of people will say that, like a lot of men will say that, like, why you got so many questions?
Yeah.
Right. So sometimes it sends a certain energy, but that's not what you're trying to send. So I get that.
Yeah. And then the whole piece around just the expectations as a whole and the differences, like, I do think that there's room, you know, for us to be who we are. And when you're able to create that safe space as we have in our marriage, it makes it easier for me to see you, me to accept you, you to see me, and for you to accept me as well. It's a growing process.
Yeah.
Like, it does not happen overnight. It takes time and it takes intentionality.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I will say is that with all of the permutations and iterations of you,
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm seeing you differently, and I love the woman that I'm looking at.
Easy.
I do.
How are you seeing me differently, babe?
Yo, like, the way that I just marvel at number one, the ambition, where I may have in the past had some hesitation or apprehension about different approaches, ideas, et cetera, et cetera. Like, your go-getterism is like on 10, and your vision is like you're seeing around corners. And so that's so inspiring to me. And so I'm like really appreciative of like just the way that you're showing up and how you're leading and how you have vision and how you're pouring into me and pouring into our family. Like, we would not be in this studio if it wasn't for you. We wouldn't be in California. Actually, we would be in California, but you were very clear. I was doing some of the stuff that you're talking about in terms of asking questions, being apprehensive,
okay.
and lifting up. It's data analysis, is looking at the different variables, and that's what I'm doing. I'm analyzing. Of course, it wasn't a question as to whether or not I would be here, because wherever you are, that's where I'm going to be. Wherever my children are, that's where I'm going to be. That we're going to be wherever we are, that's where I am. And so, but even still, like, you were like, nah, we going. We heading out west. We're going to make it happen. And so there was a certain clarity and conviction that inspires me, that empowers
Caveat,
me.
because our son had to come out here. It wasn't like I was like, we moving to California and everybody got to follow. We were coming to support him.
We were coming to support him. And so, like I said, I'm thankful, and I just see you. I see the way you're moving, Joe, is you're moving differently. I'm impressed.
I'm just taking all that in. I'm receiving. I'm learning to receive. And
you don't be late like that no more either. No, I'm dead serious.
I do be late.
No, I'm saying, though, like,
thank you,
this used to be, and I don't think that it's about me pivoting or me adapting and adjusting. The way you're showing up differently.
Really?
You really are, bro.
Okay.
You really are.
All right, I'm going to receive all of that. I'm like, okay. I have to share with you. You just spoke life to me. This is a great way to end this episode because it's giving me all the feels. You're giving me all the feels. You gonna give me a massage tonight and give me some more feels?
I am, babe.
Yes. You see how I set that up? Yes. But honestly, Ayize, you are my teacher. You are my teacher. I say that all the time. But you have taught me the importance of presence. There is no one that I know greater, who does this greater, who is able to attune with anybody, who can just make room for anybody, who can connect in. And you do it with me so effortlessly, so flawlessly. You are, what you call yourself a little earlier when we were doing our challenge? You said a romantic relationship practitioner. But it's not just about the romance. It's about like your ability to know what's needed. It's the unseen. It's that intuition. You have that Pisces energy that brings out the intuition. You can just get in a vibe with the environment. And because oftentimes I've like been in my head so much. And, as my therapist told me when I was 15, like, you intellectualize quite a bit. I need you to feel your feelings. My God is so good because I didn't know what she meant. I said this earlier tonight that we were doing another thing, that she kept asking me how I felt, and I kept telling her what I thought. And I really honestly didn't know what the difference was. And you came into my life. I'm always crying. Hopefully I won't cry every episode. Pray for me. But you came into my life not that long after. in high school. And there began the unfolding of my learning how to feel, because I can't be with you and stay in my head. I can't be in your presence and not get into my heart. It's just not possible. You are my teacher. You are the lover of my soul. You are the person I feel incredibly. You are my soulmate. You are my soulmate. So I see you. I might say things sometimes it's not nice, but I accept you as you are, fully, unconditionally, even though I may not always act like it. I really do. I love you, Aise. Completely. And with that, Lord, we just went into a bubble. Like, let me get back out the bubble before we be inappropriate in here.
I know.
Everybody, this has been another episode of the Relationship Cheat Code. Yeah. Tonight, talking about making room for one another, having the conversations you need to have.
Accepting
you
differences.
Get to be impacted.
Mm-hmm.
And we can accept the differences and challenge each other all at the same time. So, I feel filled up.
Yes.
Until the next time, we'll see you on the next Relationship Cheat Code. Peace.
I love you, baby.
I love you too.